Stoicism is a universal philosophy, available and accessible to all people regardless of their social class, skin color, sexual orientation, financial condition, or level of intelligence. This democratic nature of Stoicism is evident through the lives of two of its greatest representatives, Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. Epictetus lived as a slave for more than 30 years before gaining his freedom and becoming one of the most influential Stoic philosophers in history. On the other hand, Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, a member of one of the wealthiest and most powerful families of his time. These two extremes show that Stoic philosophy is not a privilege reserved for intellectuals, the wealthy, or the powerful, but rather a path available to any human being who wishes to embark on the journey toward virtue, self-knowledge, and inner peace. Stoicism does not judge who you are, but rather how willing you are to transform your life through its principles. Both Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius applied Stoicism in their lives as a means to pursue virtue and gain control over themselves. They actively fought against their vices, striving to free themselves from desires such as lust, greed, impulsiveness, and anxiety. Through the discipline of their minds, they learned how to confront fears and manage their worries, focusing only on what was within their control. They embraced the essential Stoic teaching that while we cannot dictate the circumstances of life, we can always govern our reactions to them. By rejecting the grip of harmful impulses and cultivating self-mastery, they exemplified how Stoicism serves as a practical tool for inner transformation and moral fortitude. One of the fundamental lessons of Stoicism is the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. You cannot control whether it will rain or shine tomorrow, nor can you dictate the actions of other people, even if they are close to you, such as family members or those living in your own home. Similarly, you have no control over the opinions and judgments that others form about you, nor can you alter the nature of the society in which you live. The only true domain you possess is over yourself, your desires, intentions, actions, and the way you respond to what happens to you. Every person has a nature capable of governing emotions and reactions, and Stoicism teaches us to focus precisely on this internal mastery, liberating ourselves from the futile stress of trying to control the uncontrollable. Stoicism is the philosophy that teaches us to do what must be done regardless of the circumstances, encouraging us to assume full moral responsibility for our actions. It invites us to discipline and train our emotions so that we can begin to act in ways that avoid shame, self-dishonor, and self-indulgence, feelings that are often rooted in vice. This practice is not about suppressing emotions, but about refining them, transforming impulsive reactions into deliberate choices aligned with virtue. Through this disciplined approach, we cultivate resilience, integrity, and strength of character, learning to respond wisely to life's challenges, rather than being ruled by fleeting pleasures or destructive habits. The life of Marcus Aurelius demonstrates how Stoicism can guide us in resisting vices and leading us toward the path of virtue. Despite having absolute power as the emperor of Rome for 19 years, with unrestricted access to wealth, luxury, and indulgence, Marcus Aurelius chose a life of discipline and moral integrity. He did not give in to the temptations of immediate pleasure or to the impulses that his position could have easily justified. Instead, he committed himself to self-mastery, recognizing that true strength lies in the ability to resist these temptations. His example teaches us that the capacity to resist can be cultivated and become a positive habit, accessible to anyone willing to engage in consistent practice and reflection. For the Stoics, any virtue that is accessible to one human being is accessible to all. This means that if Marcus Aurelius, despite his immense power and the countless temptations surrounding him, was able to resist and maintain a life of discipline, then all of us, who possess far less power and fewer opportunities for excess, can also develop this same strength. We all share a rational nature that allows us to control our emotions, regulate our behavior, and cultivate healthy relationships with others. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this through years of disciplined practice, documenting his thoughts and struggles in what would later be known as his meditations. His writings provide a testament to the fact that resistance to vice and the pursuit of virtue are universal human potentials, not privileges reserved for a select few. Harmless vices often operate in our lives much like a silent mosquito resting, unnoticed on the wall of our bedroom, easy to ignore until their consequences manifest, much like waking up covered in bites and itching in discomfort. These small, seemingly innocent habits, like stress shopping, casually watching pornography, complaining about coworkers, criticizing family members, procrastinating on difficult tasks, indulging in junk food, drinking excessive coffee, or mindlessly scrolling through social media, can gradually and quietly ensnare us. While they may appear trivial compared to the stereotypical image of addiction, these behaviors have the potential to chain us long before we recognize them as vices. Stoicism teaches us to remain vigilant and self-aware, understanding that even the smallest habits shape our character, and over time can either lead us toward virtue and freedom or deeper into bondage and self-deception. The practice of Stoicism emphasizes taking total moral responsibility for our actions, regardless of the circumstances we face. It teaches that we must discipline and train our emotions, not to suppress them, but to act in accordance with reason and virtue. By doing so, we avoid the pitfalls of shame, self-dishonor, and self-indulgence, all of which are deeply rooted in our unchecked vices. Stoicism offers a framework for aligning our actions with our highest values, reminding us that external events are beyond our control, but our choices and reactions are entirely within our power. This conscious discipline empowers us to live authentically and with integrity, regardless of how challenging or tempting our environment may be. Marcus Aurelius's famous statement, "He who does not transmit light creates his own darkness," encapsulates the Stoic belief that virtue is not merely a private endeavor, but a moral duty that radiates outward. By striving to overcome our vices and live virtuously, we become sources of light and strength for others, contributing positively to the society around us. Conversely, when we neglect this inner work, allowing our vices and weaknesses to dominate, we not only harm ourselves, but also darken the lives of those connected to us. This Stoic insight urges us to embrace self-transformation as an act of service to the greater good, reinforcing that personal virtue is both an individual achievement and a social responsibility.